pick up any pillow off your bed right now. Not the pillowcase. Pull it off and set the case aside. Hold the pillow and press your face into it for just a second. Not a long breath, just a quick one. If it smells like sleep, like something warm and stale that no amount of washing has ever fully fixed, you are not alone and you are not doing anything wrong. You have just been using the wrong method. Almost everybody has. It is very common. That smell does not come from dirt on the surface. It comes from what is trapped deep inside the fill, months and years of body oil, dried sweat, and skin residue that have worked their way into the fibers and are sitting in there right now. A standard machine cycle, the kind every laundry tag on every pillow ever made will tell you to run, cannot reach that. The water gets to the surface, maybe an inch in, not much further. The core of the pillow and everything your body has left in it barely gets touched. The result is a pillow that smells like it has been washed for about a week. Then it is right back where it started. Now here is the part that should make you a little angry. A quality pillow, down, synthetic, cotton fill, whichever kind you use, should last anywhere from 5 to 10 years with the right care. The companies that sell them count on you not knowing that. They count on you throwing a pillow away after 2 or 3 years because it has gone flat, gone musty, or gone lumpy, and you assume that is just what pillows do. It is not, and that is a common misconception we need to clear up. It is what happens when a pillow never gets properly cleaned. What I'm going to walk you through costs somewhere around $2 to $3 per washing. The materials are already in most homes, and the result is a pillow that comes out smelling like nothing, which is exactly what a clean thing should smell like, and that holds its loft the way it did when it was new. There is a jar of white vinegar under my kitchen sink that has been earning its keep for a long time. Folks around here always kept a jug of it in the house, the way most people today keep a bottle of whatever cleaning product they saw advertised last. Vinegar, baking soda, a little washing soda, those were the cleaning cabinet for most of the women I grew up watching keep house. My name is Annie Hemingway. I spent over 30 years sleeping on beds I laundered myself in a farmhouse without a fancy machine cycle for everything, and I can tell you that the pillows I washed the old way outlasted every pillow I have bought since and tried to care for the modern way. What I learned about linen and fill care came from my mother and from the women in our hollow, and it is the kind of knowledge that stopped being passed down right around the time the detergent companies started selling us something for every surface in the house. That knowledge is worth keeping. If you think so too, go ahead and subscribe. There is more of it to come, and I put something new out every week. And while you are thinking about it, I want to ask you something in the comments. When is the last time you washed your pillows? Not just the cases, but the pillows themselves. And how did they come out? Were they still flat and a little musty even after? I read every comment that comes in, and I would genuinely like to know. Now, before we get into the materials and the method itself, there's one thing you need to understand about why the standard wash fails, because if you skip this part, the rest of it will not make the sense it should. Your pillow fill, whether it is down clusters or polyester fiber fill or shredded foam, is not like a cotton shirt. A shirt is a single layer of fabric. Water and soap move through it in seconds. A pillow is dense, layered, and tightly packed into a ticking that was designed to keep fill in and keep surface moisture out. That ticking does exactly what it was made to do, even when you do not want it to. It resists water penetration quite effectively, actually. It resists thorough rinsing, making it difficult to get clean. And it holds on to trapped moisture long after the machine says the cycle is done. The other problem is soap itself, which we often overlook. Laundry detergent, even a small amount, leaves a residue in dense fill when it is not rinsed out completely. That residue attracts dust, skin particles, and humidity. It breaks down the fill over time, making down clump and synthetic fibers mat together. And it is one of the main reasons a pillow smells worse 6 months after washing than it did before. Not because washing failed, but because the rinse did. The method we are going to use addresses both of these problems at once. The pre-soak breaks down the oil and residue before the machine ever runs. The rinse cycle pulls out what the soap left behind. And the drying step, which most people rush or skip entirely, is where the whole thing either succeeds or falls apart. We will get into every step of it, starting with what to buy and what to do with it, right after this. Here is the honest truth about what your washing machine is actually doing to your pillow and why it has never been quite enough. The standard approach most households use goes something like this. Stuff the pillow into the machine, add a scoop of detergent, run a warm or hot cycle, pull it out, and put it in the dryer. If the pillow comes out smelling reasonably clean, it feels like success. It is not, and here is why. What happened is that the outer ticking got cleaned, the surface fibers got agitated, and the deep fill got wet, partially, unevenly, and then began the long, slow process of drying from the outside in, with whatever body oil, sweat residue, and old soap was already in there now redistributed and locked back in place by the heat of the dryer. That is not a clean pillow. That is a pillow that has been through the motions. The reason this matters goes back to basic chemistry, and I will make it plain so you do not have to think twice about it. Body oil is naturally acidic, which is the root of the problem. It bonds to fiber on a molecular level, the same way grease bonds to a cast iron pan if you let it sit long enough. Plain water will not lift it. Detergent alone will not fully lift it either, not from deep inside a dense fill, not in the 30 or 40 minutes a standard wash cycle gives it. What breaks down acidic oil residue is an alkaline environment, something that chemically disagrees with the oil and forces it to let go of the fiber. You do not need to remember the word alkaline, just the result. What you need to remember is baking soda. That is the tool you need for the job. At the same time, the musty smell that develops in pillows over months is not just oil. It is microbial, tiny organisms that thrive in warm, slightly damp, slightly organic material, exactly the environment the inside of a used pillow provides. What neutralizes that at the source, not just masks it, is white vinegar. Vinegar is acidic, and it disrupts the environment those organisms need to survive. It does not perfume the pillow. It does not leave a vinegar smell when it dries. That surprises people, but it is true. It simply removes the odor at its root. Those two things together, baking soda and white vinegar, are the core of this method. The third element is washing soda, which is different from baking soda and worth knowing about. Washing soda is sodium carbonate. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. Washing soda is more alkaline, more aggressive at cutting through built-up grease and old detergent residue in fabric. You can find it in the laundry aisle of most grocery stores or any big box store for around $3 a box. One box will last you a long time. If your pillows are particularly old or have never been treated this way before, washing soda is worth adding. If they are newer and reasonably maintained, baking soda alone will do the job. Now here's exactly what to do, step by step. Start with your bathtub or a large utility sink, somewhere you can fully submerge the pillow in water. You are going to do a pre-soak before the machine ever runs, and this is the step that does the real work. Fill the tub with hot water, as hot as your tap will run. You want heat here because heat opens the fibers and helps break down oil. Once the tub is about halfway full, add half a cup of baking soda and stir it through the water until it dissolves. Then add half a cup of white vinegar. It will fizz. That is normal. That is the two reacting together, and the reaction itself helps lift residue from the fill. If your pillows are overdue for a deep clean, add a quarter cup of washing soda at this stage as well. Submerge both pillows at the same time if you can. Always wash two together. It matters for the machine step that comes next, and it balances the load. Press them down into the water. They will want to float. Press them flat, squeeze gently to help the water work into the fill, and leave them to soak for a full 30 minutes. Set a timer for 30 minutes. Do not rush this part, it's very important. After 30 minutes, press each pillow firmly along its length to push the soaking water through the fill. You will likely see the water change color, going from clear to a light tan or gray. That is what was inside your pillow. That is what a standard wash cycle was redistributing rather than removing. Drain the tub completely once the soak is finished. Now move both pillows to the washing machine. Do not add detergent, or if you feel you must, use no more than 1 tablespoon of a gentle liquid detergent, and even then, less is better here. What you want is the agitation and the rinsing, not more soap going in. Set the machine to a gentle or delicate cycle with warm water and set it to run 2 full rinse cycles back to back, not 1. That second rinse is not optional if you want the best results. It is what pulls the loosened residue and any remaining baking soda fully out of the fill. If your machine has an extra rinse setting, use it. If it does not, simply run the rinse cycle a second time manually. Let the spin cycle run completely before you open the lid. A full spin removes as much water as possible from the fill before the drying step begins, and the less water that goes into the dryer, the better the result. Pull the pillows out and feel them. They should be damp but not dripping, compressed but not sopping. If they feel waterlogged, run the spin cycle once more. The drying step is where the whole method either holds together or falls apart, and it is also where most people make a mistake that undoes everything they just did. That is exactly where we are going next. Pull those pillows out of the machine and do not be in a hurry. That is the first thing. The drying step is not a formality at the end of a wash. It is half the method, and rushing it is the single most common reason a pillow comes out of this process still smelling off, still lumpy, or worse than it went in. Here is what is happening inside that fill right now. The fibers, whether down clusters or polyester fiber fill, are damp and compressed together. If heat is applied too fast and too hard, the outside dries while the interior stays wet. That trapped moisture sitting warm inside a dense fill is exactly the condition that produces mildew. This does not happen immediately. It builds over the next few days, and by the time you notice the smell, the pillow has already been sleeping against your face for a week. So the goal is not to dry the pillow fast. The goal is to dry it completely, all the way through, with enough airflow and enough time that no moisture pocket survives anywhere in the fill. If you have a clothesline and the day is sunny, use it. This is the old way, and it is still the best way for the first stage of drying. Drape each pillow lengthwise over the line so it hangs open and flat, not folded over itself. Leave them out for 2 to 3 hours in direct sun. The ultraviolet light does something the dryer cannot. It kills residual microbial activity on the surface and deep in the outer layers of fill. It is a natural sanitizer, and the women who hung their bedding on the line every spring knew exactly what they were doing, even if they did not call it ultraviolet anything. They called it airing the bed out, and they did it every season without fail. If the weather does not cooperate, or you do not have a line, go straight to the dryer, but do it on low heat, not high. High heat shrinks down clusters, melts or mats synthetic fibers, and damages the ticking over time. Low heat takes much longer to finish. Plan for at least 2 full dryer cycles of 45 minutes to an hour each, with a short break between them to open the dryer, pull the pillows out, and manually break up any clumping you feel inside the fill. Squeeze and knead the pillow from the outside. You will feel where the fill has balled together, and separate it with your hands before putting it back in. The trick that makes the dryer method work properly is adding something to the drum with the pillows. 3 wool dryer balls is what I use now. Wool dryer balls are sold at most grocery stores and big box stores for around $8 to $12 for a set, and they last for years. They tumble against the fill and physically break up clumping as the cycle runs. That is what keeps a pillow lofted and even rather than lumpy in one corner and flat everywhere else. If you do not have dryer balls, 2 or 3 clean tennis balls inside a tied-off pillowcase will do the same job. Do not put bare tennis balls directly in the dryer. The cases protect the pillow ticking from the rubber. Check for dryness before you declare the job done. Press into the center of each pillow firmly with both hands. If you feel any coolness or heaviness in the middle, it is not dry. A fully dry pillow feels uniformly light and springy all the way through, with no cool spots and no resistance in the fill. If there is any doubt at all, run another cycle. An extra 30 minutes of low heat costs nothing and prevents the mildew that would make the whole effort pointless. Now, I want to be straight with you about what this method will and will not do, because that matters more to me than making it sound like a miracle. This process will remove body oil, sweat residue, old detergent buildup, and the odor that comes from microbial activity in the fill. It will restore loft to a pillow that has gone flat from compacted, gunked-up fibers. It will extend the useful life of a well-made pillow by years. Those are real results, and they are worth the 2 hours this takes from start to finish. What it will not do is resurrect a pillow that has genuinely reached the end of its life. Down that has broken down into dust and powder, synthetic fill that has permanently matted into hard clumps that your hands cannot break apart, or ticking that has yellowed so deeply and stiffened so thoroughly that the fabric itself has degraded. Those are signs that the pillow is done. No wash, old method or new, will bring it back. If you squeeze the fill and it does not spring back at all, if it stays flat and dense where your hand pressed it, that pillow is ready to be replaced and you are not failing it by letting it go. This method also does not work well on memory foam pillows or latex pillows. Those fills should not be submerged in water or put through a machine cycle at all. The structure breaks down when saturated. Spot clean the surface, air them out in indirect sunlight, and replace them when the material stops recovering its shape. Keeping pillows clean between washes is simpler than people tend to think, and it dramatically cuts down how often a deep wash is needed. Put a pillow protector, a zippered cotton or cotton blend cover, between the pillow itself and the pillowcase. That protector takes the direct contact with your skin and hair every night, and it can be pulled off and washed in a regular cycle every 2 to 3 weeks with no special treatment needed. The pillow inside stays clean far longer because it never touches your skin directly. Wash the pillows themselves twice a year. Once in spring, once in late summer before the weather turns. If you have allergies or run warm at night, 4 times a year is reasonable. On a dry morning, pull the pillowcases and protectors off and lay the bare pillows flat in a sunny window or prop them near an open one for an hour. Do this once a month. Fresh air and indirect light do quiet, steady work between full washes, drawing out moisture that has accumulated in the fill and keeping the fibers from packing down. Small habits like that, kept up regularly, are what the old homesteaders would have called tending the house. This is really not a big production. Just attention, given consistently before a problem has a chance to settle in. There is an industry built around the idea that household things wear out on a schedule, that pillows last 2 years, mattresses last 8, and when the time is up, you go back to the store and buy another one. That schedule is not an accident. It is not based on how long a well-cared-for thing actually lasts. It is based on what keeps the replacement cycle moving. A quality down pillow, properly washed and dried and aired twice a year, will last a decade. A good synthetic fill pillow, given the same care, will go 5 to 7 years without losing its function or its freshness. The women who kept house on the homesteads up and down these mountain ridges did not replace their bedding on a retail schedule. They kept it. They tended it. They knew that a bed was an investment in the health and rest of every person sleeping in it, and that the knowledge of how to maintain it was worth as much as the thing itself. Nobody sells you that knowledge. There is no product attached to it. You cannot put it in a bottle or a box and mark it up 300% and put it on a shelf next to the detergent pods. And that is precisely why it stopped being passed down the way it should have been. The stores needed you to believe that caring for a pillow was complicated, or that it required something you did not already have, or that it simply was not worth the trouble and you should just buy a new one. None of that is true. What is true is that $2 worth of white vinegar and baking soda, a bathtub, and a couple of hours will do more for your pillows than any specialty laundry product on the market. What is also true is that knowing this puts money back in your pocket every single year. Not a fortune, but a steady, quiet saving that compounds over a household lifetime into something real. My mother used to strip the beds every April, right after the last cold snap had passed, and the first genuinely warm days came through the hollow. Everything came off, sheets, cases, the quilts, and the pillows themselves. She would haul the pillows out to the back porch and drape them over the railing in the morning sun. While they aired, she worked through the rest of the bedding. By afternoon, she would bring the pillows in, press each one flat with both hands to check the fill, and set aside anything that needed attention. She had a washboard and a deep basin for the ones that needed more than airing. No machine, at least not for years. That came later. She used water as hot as she could stand, a splash of vinegar from the jug she kept under the dry sink, and a scoop of washing soda she made herself from baking soda heated in the oven. She scrubbed the ticking by hand, squeezed the fill through, rinsed until the water ran clear, then back out to the porch line until the sun had done its work. I asked her once why she bothered with all of it when the pillows looked fine to me. She said a bed that smelled right was a bed a person could actually rest in, and that rest was not a small thing. She said you could tell a lot about how a household was being kept by whether the beds were truly clean or just looked clean. That lesson has always stayed with me. I think about it every spring when I strip my own beds down, and every time I pull a pillow off the line and press my face into it and it smells like nothing, which is exactly right. So here's what I want you to do this week. Go to the grocery store or the big box store and pick up a box of baking soda, a jug of white vinegar, and if your pillows are overdue, a box of washing soda. The three of them together will cost you somewhere around $5 to $7, and that is enough for multiple washings. If you do not already have wool dryer balls, add those to the list. One set will last you for years. Fill the bathtub with hot water. Add half a cup of baking soda, half a cup of white vinegar, and a quarter cup of washing soda if you are using it. Submerge both pillows, press them down into the water, and let them soak for 30 minutes. Press the water through the fill, drain the tub, and move the pillows to the machine. Run a gentle cycle with warm water and 2 full rinse cycles. No detergent, or at most 1 tablespoon of a gentle liquid detergent. Make sure it spins completely. Dry on low heat with 3 wool dryer balls or 2 tennis balls in a Tide pillowcase. Run 2 full cycles of 45 minutes each, breaking up the fill by hand between them. Check the center of each pillow before you call it done. Cool or heavy in the middle means more time. Light and springy all the way through means finished. Put a zippered pillow protector on each one before the case goes back on. Wash those protectors every 2 to 3 weeks. Air the bare pillows near an open window once a month. Wash the pillows themselves twice a year, spring and late summer. That is the whole system in a nutshell. Nothing complicated, nothing you cannot do this weekend. If this is the kind of thing you want more of, practical, plain, and useful, go ahead and subscribe. There is a lot of old household knowledge that deserves to keep being passed down, and this is my way of making sure it does. And tell me in the comments, do you wash your pillows or have you been replacing them instead? I want to know how many people were never shown this. I personally read every comment that comes in. The next thing I want to talk to you about is your mattress, what builds up in it over time, and the dry method the old homesteaders used to pull moisture and odor out of a mattress without ever getting it wet. It is cheaper than anything a cleaning company will charge you, and it works on the same principle we talked about today. Keep your beds clean and all your people rested. That is what the old women in our hollow always said the house was for, and I have never found a reason to argue with them.